If she was wrong, she wouldn't live to regret it. The first staccato bark confirmed her fears. One of her pursuers had picked up her scent trail and was alerting the others to the location. Now it was only a matter of time before they found her. All she could do was run and pray she made it to safety before they all caught up. If just one came at her, she could handle it. In a fight between a lone wolf and a single coyote, the wolf almost always won, even a smaller and lighter red wolf like her. Which was why Jeffrey had sent 5 of them after her. No way could she beat those odds. 5 trained male enforcers of any species against little old her? She'd need to be a polar bear to survive that. Branches snapped behind her, urging Renny to move even faster. If the coyotes on her tail weren't worried about making noise, then they wouldn't bother choosing a clear path to follow her. They'd plow through anything to take the straightest line right to her. Clearly, her nemesis had instructed them not to mess around anymore. A sharp yip of anticipation gave her a single instant of warning, and that will to survive made her dip her shoulder and twist into a sharp right turn. She dove into the underbrush, ignoring the clumps of snow that plopped onto her head and the way the thorns ripped through her thick fur to scrape at the skin beneath. She could warm up and lick her wounds later, when she was safe. If she managed to save herself at all. The unexpected maneuver may have gained her a few inches of distance between herself and the lead coyote, but that didn't last. She could feel the enforcers closing in again, harrying her as if she were some kind of prey animal, like a wounded deer on the way to becoming the pack's next meal. The comparison fit way too close for comfort. She tried to calculate how far she'd traveled in the last frantic minutes, but all she could do was guess. Running flat out, she could probably manage 35 miles an hour, but she couldn't keep it up for more than a few minutes. Already, burning muscles and oxygen-starved lungs begged her to drop down to something more reasonable. So where had her panicked flight left her in relation to Shifter Shangri-La? Not frickin' close enough. If she was lucky, she'd covered 8 of the 13 miles between her and safety. 9, if the goddess happened to be looking out for her. It wasn't nearly enough. Then something changed. A new smell cut through the atmosphere of pine needles and wet soil, rocks and wildlife. Something heavier, muskier, male, wolfish, alpha. The realization almost made her slide to a terrified halt. Shit. She'd just stumbled into someone else's territory. Another shifter's by the scent of it, and that could be either good for her or very, very bad. A wolf shifter might take her side against a pack of coyote goons, or he might decide to kill her himself for trespassing on its territory. There was no way to tell. Maybe now would be a good time to dedicate herself to serving the goddess and a life of prayer. She sent one up, hastily, but earnestly begging the moon and all her sisters for a miracle. Something, anything to get her out of the reach of the coyotes, who would drag her back to Sawmill, California, and her death at Jeffrey Hilliard's brutal hands. Zigzagging through the underbrush, Renny spotted a pinpoint of light in the distance and made a beeline for it. Maybe the prayer had worked, and the light represented the town of Alpha, or at least its outskirts. Town meant people, and a town like Alpha meant people capable of holding off a small band of coyote enforcers long enough for her to beg for help. It meant a spark of hope. She called up the last of her reserves of strength and flew toward the light. But the attack came so fast, she didn't even have time to second-guess that whole prayer strategy. She'd gotten too busy bleeding. She yelped as a set of fangs sliced into the back of her hind leg. The pain jolted through her, but her attacker had missed the big tendons, so at least she didn't fall or lose the use of her limb. That would have ended things fast. But Renny could keep moving, for the moment, so she did. Stubborn, desperate determination welled up within her. Damn it, she had not lived this long, come this far, or run this hard to let herself be caught now. She refused. With a frantic yip, she leapt